September 5th, 1986. This is Joe Todd, an interview with Mr. Heinrich Rothauge in Camp Gruber in Muskogee. Sir, where were you born?
At Windhoek, Southwest Africa.
And when is your birthday?
On the 17th of February 1919, I was born at Windhoek.
Who is your father?
My father is dead, but he came to Southwest Africa in 1889. One of the first families in Southwest Africa.
Why did he go to Africa?
He was a businessman.
What type of business?
In Southwest Africa, you have to make business with every kind, whatever you want. Sell skins of food, of tools, any kind of live sheep, of kettles.
What was your father's name?
Karl August.
And your mother?
My mother came out with her mother with 12 children to Southwest Africa, also in 1889.
And what was her name?
She was born Kries, K-R-I-E-S-S.
And what was her given name, her first name?
Emma.
Emma. How long did you live in Africa?
At 1924, my father sent my mother with 6 children, 2 brothers and 3 sisters, for education to Germany. And after the elder sisters and brothers finished their occupation, I've been the youngest. Then we went back to Southwest Africa. It was in 1930. And in 1936, when I finished my education at school, my parents sent me back to Germany to learn carpenter.
Where did you go for your education? Where?
They sent me to Rendsburg, northern Germany. That's near the border of Denmark.
What did you study? What were your studies?
Yeah, that was the practice I have to learn, 3 years. And after my 3 years, my parents, they spent me a holiday of 6 months in Southwest Africa. And when I was on the way to Southwest Africa, the World War II broke out and the ship must return to the harbor, and I was taken to the army. And so I came to the German army.
Let me back up. Was there a depression in Africa as
No.
there was in Europe?
No, but it was easier, better, and cheaper to send the children back to Germany for the occupation than to... Yeah, they told me too hard.
Yeah.
Than to send them to South Africa.
Southwest Africa then was under Germany at that time?
No, it was already a protectorate of South Africa. At that time, I'd been a German citizen and an English subject.
How did this relationship work, being a subject and a German citizen?
You don't feel anything in that connection, but when the war broke out in 1940, the war countries, they make an arrangement that all soldiers with 2 citizens must get one off. And that means when I been in England, then I was a English. And so I stood in Germany, so I been a German.
And the war broke out. When did the war break out?
On the 1st September of 39.
Did you know the war was coming?
Not that time, but in 38, when Chamberlain went over to Munich to make regulations and speaks with Hitler and so on, there we felt a war stance for the door. But after that, we don't realize that 1 year later the war will be broke out.
Were you aware of the rise of Hitler in Africa?
No, at that time not.
Yeah. Okay. So you were on the ship in 39, returning to Africa.
No, yeah, 39, yeah, to return to Africa, but the ship must come back because the war broke out.
And you returned where?
No, then I came back to Rendsburg where I learned my occupation, but only a few days, and then I've been in the army.
In the American Army, we call it basic training.
Yeah.
Where did you take your basic?
Infantry.
Infantry.
Yeah.
Where?
Also in northern Germany, in Neumünster. That's a town near Rendsburg.
Would you briefly describe your training in infantry?
Yeah, I was a bad soldier because I wouldn't be a soldier. And my homesickness that time was so great because I want to go home. I've been 19 years old. And all my thinkings and everything was concentrated of my home, of my parents and so. But so I've been a very bad soldier that time. But later, you know, you've been older and you're more fit. And
how long did your basic last? How many weeks?
No, our basic training was till November, only 3 months.
After you finished basic,
Yeah.
where did you go?
To the Siegfried Line.
What was the Siegfried Line built for?
Yeah, that was the border between Germany, France, Holland, Belgium, and that nobody knows how the war will go that time. And they put us on little townships near the Siegfried Line, and the basic training goes on there. On that.
What were your duties on the Siegfried Line?
Very hard. And it was raining, it was cold, and it was the first time I've been in between a lot of soldiers, and we are lying on the floor of horse stables, you know, where the horses and cattle been on the farms. It was a bad time for us on the one hand side, and on the other side it was a very good comradeship between the soldiers because it was so primitive.
Was the Siegfried Line, they were what they called the Dragon's Teeth?
Yeah, and bunkers, and no, every kind of. They were still building on it. The south part against France and Belgium was finished, but against Holland wasn't finished yet that time, and they were still building on it.
Were you there when the Maginot Line fell, was
No.
destroyed? The Maginot Line in France?
Yeah, I know that, yeah. No, I've been not there.
Okay.
No.
When did When did Germany invade France and take the Maginot Line?
That was in 41.
41.
Yeah, spring 41.
How long did you stay on the Siegfried Line?
Yeah, till that time.
Till that-
Till to that time.
And from the Siegfried Line, where did you go?
To Holland and Belgium.
Why were you sent to Holland? And
Now you see, our unit came from Poland after the war in Poland was finished, and I been the first our unit. Few of the soldiers died in Poland, and now they filled up the unit with us. How you call it?
replacements?
Replace. Eh?
So the unit they were Poles?
Yeah. Now they're fighting in Poland, and then after the war in Poland, they was transferred to the border of Holland, and there they replaced the soldiers who died in Poland. So I came to my unit.
Was the unit, was it all German?
Yeah,
Did you,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
It was
how-
the Infantry Division 42 under General von Priesen. He lost his arm in the First World War, and he was one of the best generals what Germany had that time.
Would you tell me some of your experiences in the unit?
What must I tell? Yeah, I know better. After the war in the West, we came to a training place, what we called Münsterlager. That's south of Hamburg. And there we heard the first time that Germany starts a war against Russia. And we was trained for the Russian war. And in between that time and the beginning of my time by the Siegfried Line, I heard that the Oberkommando of the German Wehrmacht army, they want me for a special unit, but I didn't want. And the company lieutenant, he wasn't my friend, but he was good to me. And I said to him, I don't want left my company because I have many friends here. And so it has gone a few times. But at that night, where our unit should be transferred to Russian in a train, open train, men came from where I don't know and gave our company leader a letter where was written in that I must come to the Oberkommando of the German army to Berlin. And no, they couldn't do anything about it, and we were sitting in the trucks of the train to wait until the train must move. And they put me out and sent me with all my army stuff to the Oberkommando of the German army, to Berlin. And there
Comrades. Good.
And there they told me that they that I have to go to Brandenburg. That's a town near Berlin, not so close to Berlin, but I don't know, maybe 200 kilometers or so, to a new unit which will send to North Africa. And this unit, they call that unit the Lehrregiment of Brandenburg. That's a special unit where all of many of South Africans, of Southwest Africans, came together because they could speak a little English and other language, and they know about the other life than just the life in Germany. And this unit is a unit which fight behind the lines. You know, we went over and we've been sent over Italy to North Africa, to Tunisia, and there we flew over the lines with a glider to blow up bridges and sabotage bridges and roads and ammunition and so on.
You say you flew in gliders?
Yeah.
Tell me about flying in a glider.
Yeah, you see, I've been, during my time, when I've been in Rendsburg to learn my occupation, I've been in the German Hitlerjugend, where we learned to build gliders and to fly with gliders. And there I have a few experience with gliders. But that day where we been sent to blow up a bridge with gliders over the line, I've been not there. I didn't take place on that.
Let me back up once more. While you were on the Siegfried line, did you come in contact with any of the British or the French
No,
troops?
no,
No.
not in that area.
Yeah. When's the first time that you saw the enemy?
It was in Holland.
In Holland.
Yeah.
Would you tell me about what you thought when you first saw it?
Because the war was so quick over that I'm not really fighting. You see, when we came, I've been on a heavy unit with machine guns. And when we are coming to come in position, then it was already...
Was this what they call the Blitzkrieg?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many days or weeks did it take to conquer Holland and Belgium?
I don't know so exactly well, but it wasn't long, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Was Brussels an open city?
I can't say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So would you tell me more about North Africa and just what you did?
Yeah. You see, when we are going back to Germany, then I went with my wife to North Africa to see the places where I was fighting. My wife comes now from South Africa to Frankfurt, and she's waiting for me when I come back from the United States. And then we are going to North Africa to see the battlefields where I was captured. And you see, our unit wasn't a unit who stood always on the line, on the front of the line. We came always when we make a sabotage, or we help another unit, then we are always coming back to our quarter. And then when they want that we have to help them again, then we are going again.
In the American Army, that's called a replacement depot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. My father was in one of these.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time you saw the British in North Africa,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts?
No, sure. I will say the first time, we make the first time contact with the British in Tunisia. We captured a lot of trucks and food and so on. But the British left before we came. And we captured also tanks and every stuff what the British left behind. And then a very bad connection what I had was with the French black Negroes from Nigeria. They were very good fighters, but very cruelty.
How were they cruel?
Yeah, if they catch you, then they make you dead, and yeah, that kind of.
Did you ever meet Field Marshal Rommel?
No, I saw him. No, not directly, but indirectly. I saw him. Yeah, that's Rommel over there and so on.
What kind of man was he?
I think he was one of the most respectable men, generals, and the youngest in the German army. We all loved him, and I think the enemy too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
The people I've talked to
Yeah.
had nothing but good things to say
Yeah.
about Rommel. And he was a very fine gentleman.
Yeah. I think the whole war in North Africa was a war.
Gentleman's war.
General, yeah.
What were your bivouac and your camping conditions like in North Africa when you camped?
Yeah.
Where
We
did
camped.
where did you sleep?
I will tell you, our unit was one of the best
Equipped.
equipment of the whole Africa Corps, because we are a special unit. We've been transferred with planes to North Africa and the stuff with the ship. The ship was bombed and our whole stuff was gone. When we came to North Africa, we don't have anything without what we had on. And so at first, the first few days we are lying outside without anything. Later we got from another units here a little bit and there a little bit, but no trucks and nothing else. But what we captured from the English, that was our first trucks and tanks, what we had. We painted over, make the cross, the German cross on it, and so. But with that stuff, we went to war.
Were you in the area of Kasserine?
Yeah, Kasserine Pass.
Yeah. Were you there?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
What I do? Mostly we have to stay by the artillery. We don't do only sabotage and espionage, we are also pioneers. And we have done any kind of work what was usual in the
Of
army.
course, that's where the Americans were really beaten by the Germans
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Kasserine.
yeah.
Because that was, I think, the first time
The
the
first time
Americans.
in the south
Yeah.
of Tunisia. But in the north, we met them already.
When you first saw the Americans, what were your thoughts on seeing the Americans?
No, we know, you see, we know that the Americans were very safe for their safety with their soldiers. They don't send them to the German troops without a hard artillery fire. Also, that means at first they shot the artillery, what we never saw in the German army. So many fire of guns. And when they know that the front line is clear, then at first the soldiers came.
Was this to your advantage?
Yeah.
At Kasserine, for the first time you saw the Americans, were you still in the infantry? At that time?
Yeah.
What did you do when you saw the Americans?
I've been not captured at that time, and so you see, sometimes we are going back, sometimes we are going forward, and the Americans are going back. And so it was always a cat and mouse play.
Who won the first battle?
I think the first battle in Kasserine Pass is the Germans.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure.
The Kasserine Pass, the Germans won very handily.
Yeah.
Is this where you said that you were advancing back and forth
Yeah,
at Kasserine
yeah,
Pass?
yeah.
How long did the battle last at Kasserine?
I don't know. God knows.
And you mentioned that your supply ships were bombed.
Yeah.
You remember when the date of that
No,
bombing?
not the
when that
date.
was?
But so more or less it was in November 42, 42.
42.
Yeah.
Okay.
1923.
After Kasserine Pass, where did you go?
I wrote all the names down, and I have the paper by row, because I want to see the battlefields from that time, and you don't remember all the places, you know. And I wrote it down, and if I didn't know that you interview me, then I could bring the paper, then I know exactly where I've been.
Did you capture much equipment at Kasserine from the Americans?
No.
I was also going to ask, did you stay on the Siegfried line when the Germans were advancing through France?
Yeah. But so as I say, I came from Holland from that time, not to France.
Okay. Were you ever on the French
No.
part of it? Oh,
No.
okay. I'm
No.
sorry. Okay. What did you do on the day that France surrendered? Do you remember that day?
Yeah, more or less. I've been in a hospital. Yeah.
While were you in the hospital?
I got, you see that here?
Yeah.
I don't know, it was an illness. Nobody knows. It was a kind of cancer. And it took a long time till they found out what it was.
And what was
Yeah.
it? It was just a canker?
Yeah. They said it was a youth cancer. Yeah, and I never heard that before. And, but it was something, it came suddenly, like a first, how you call it?
Yeah, a fist.
Fist, yeah. Here out, and they tried and they operated and so on, but they couldn't find it out. And before it was okay, I went back to the front
Yeah.
because I don't want to stay any long in the hospital.
I had one also.
Yeah.
I had one.
Is it? Yeah.
I was in the Army.
Yeah.
I had one removed.
Yeah.
And they
So,
called, yeah, it was
yeah.
that size.
Yeah.
Where were you captured?
I've been captured on the beach of near Biserta. That's north of Tunis.
Remember the date?
Yeah, was the 8th of May 1943.
Tell me your thoughts when you realized that you were going to surrender. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I will tell you exactly. We was waiting about one night and one day until the Americans came. And somebody came of our soldiers and said, so I think, he said so, I think we must go to the American lines because the Algerians, the black fighters of the French, will come this way and they want to catch us. And we don't want to go in their prisoner. And so we had our truck was left and we climbed on the truck and we went to the Americans. They are not far away from us, but it was better and than to go to the Algeria.
How did you notify the Americans that you were?
Yeah, everybody knows that we was waiting for something. What happened? No?
The Americans know that you were going
Yeah,
to surrender?
yeah, yeah.
How did they know?
Because they are. The war was over. It was only a question of time to be captured.
Were you out of ammunition?
Yeah, it was one of the biggest firework. What do you say for it?
Fireworks?
Yeah, firework. What I ever saw, because the Germans they burned up all the equipments and ammunition, and the Americans came with their bombers and bombed, and it was a hell that days.
Who was your commander at that time?
Was Oberleutnant Hoffmann, and he's still living in Southwest Africa, and I will meet him now in the Black Forest in Germany, where we have a reunion to see all the old fighters.
Good.
Yeah.
What did the Americans do when they first captured you?
Nothing.
How were you treated?
Good.
Good.
Yeah. No, they have done nothing. They showed us where we have to go, and they said you have to go there to what was it? I think it was Mateur, the first big prisoner of war camp on the free field. They put their tanks around it, and their watch units, and then we rode with our own truck to that prisoner of war camp, the first.
How many prisoners were in this area?
Oh, many. I don't know how many, but a lot.
What
Whole
about,
Africa Corps.
Yeah. What about conditions in that camp?
No, there was no conditions. It was, I will say, not bad and not good, because it was on the free field, but the weather was good and we are lying there. So what we always have done in the free field.
What about the food?
Good.
Good food?
Yeah. But later we came in the camp what was under the administration of the English soldiers, and there was bad, very bad. No food. And when we go to the major of I don't know what he was, and said, "The food is not enough. We are hungry." Then he said, "It's your fault. Your U-boat catch our boats, and so you can't get more food because there's no food."
How long were you under the control of the British?
Not so long.
Yeah.
No.
Were you in the same camp? In the same?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you leave the Americans and go to the British?
No, that's their. It was their regulations. I think it was a matter of organization.
And
It was only one camp.
and how long were you in that camp?
Maybe 2 weeks. I don't know.
And from there
To the American camps, yeah. And then farther on to Oran, and so
how did you travel from place to
by
place?
bus.
By
No,
bus.
not by bus, by truck.
By truck?
Yeah.
Were these your own trucks?
And
Were these the German trucks? that
no,
you
no,
rode in?
no, the American truck.
American.
And black drivers. And then through the Atlas Mountains in North Africa. It was
Were
a
you
very
ever-
dangerous trip because the Atlas Mountains are very stiff, and the drivers, they got the order to drive not less than miles because they have been afraid that the prisoners will escape.
Were you ever afraid?
But
Were you ever afraid
no,
while you were there?
no,
Were you always treated good by the?
yeah, by the Americans,
Yeah.
yeah.
How long were you in Oran?
Yeah, you see, we've been captured on the 8th of May, and on the end of July, I think we've been here in America. Of the beginning of July
Yeah. Tell me about the trip from Oran
to here,
America.
to America.
On the boat.
Yeah. I remember it was a good trip for me. There was nothing wrong. It was nice weather, and the food was this tin food from the Americans, the army food. It was always the same. So later you couldn't eat it because it was always the same, and it was cold.
Yeah.
That was the trouble.
Sea rations.
Yeah.
Did the ship have any specific markings?
No, it was the, how you call it, the Kaiser ships. Victory ships, the Victory ships.
Yeah.
You know, that cheap
Yeah.
ships.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was no danger of being attacked by the U-boats.
No. What we saw was sometimes you can see the destroyer and the other warships. They are nervous and going so and so that we think there can be a U-boat or something, but we don't know it.
Were there any ships carrying German prisoners sunk by the U-boats?
No, I don't think so.
Where did you land in America?
Norfolk. Yeah.
And what were your thoughts when you first stepped foot on America?
I will tell you, I was surprised to see the organization of the Americans. There was a long row of tins, how you call it, the ash.
The
You got these tins outside too. The
Oh,
same.
the rows of the tent.
Yeah, and there you have to throw in. We have to get off with everything what we have, and to throw it in that tins, you know. And on the end of the line, you came in, I don't know, room or so. They took the clothes away, and then you have to shower, and you got your fly.
Okay.
The army too, eh?
Yeah. We call it delouse.
Yeah, the Laos, yeah. And then we got new clothes, and we marched into Pullman trains, long rows of Pullman trains. And there we traveled, I think, 3 days from Norfolk to Oklahoma.
Were you treated well?
Yeah.
What about on the trains?
Yeah, oh, the food was very good already at that time. No, there was nothing.
What was your number?
I have my number here, my badge with my number. It's a pity that I don't get it here.
Do you remember the number?
No. And if then I will give you a wrong number. But I have my
Yeah.
badge here.
Were you given a uniform?
And not a uniform, but they gave us shirts with PW on the back and on the arm, and trousers. Yeah.
Was there any reason why you were sent to Oklahoma?
No.
Just a random
Yeah.
selection?
Yeah.
How long did it take to travel from Norfolk to Oklahoma?
Yeah, I said I think it was 3 days, 2 or 3 days.
What security did they have on the train?
Yeah, on each side of one Pullman wagon was one soldier with his gun.
Did they treat you well?
They didn't do anything. They are only standing there. I think their information from the headquarters was so that they don't may talk with us and don't do anything, only to stay and watch us. That's all.
Who were the people that were working with you, cooking for you?
Yeah, they by lunchtime they came with big tins through the whole train, and then you got your paper boards and also that kind of cups, and afterwards you have to give it back.
Yeah. Tell me about your reception at Camp Gruber when you first got here.
What we have done.
Yeah. When you first arrived.
Yeah, when we arrived,
Yeah.
we have to cut the high grass away. We can't move into our barracks because it was grown full of grass. So we have to cut a path at first, and then we realized that we got new barracks with a gas stove in it, and felt beds, and everything was clean and new. It was a surprise for us to see that.
What were the barracks made of?
From plywood.
Plywood.
Yeah.
Who built them?
I don't know. The Americans.
In general, what were your living conditions in Camp Gruber?
What means condition?
Yeah. Did you have the bed you slept in, the food you ate?
Everything was excellent. There was no complaints. It was one of my best time I had.
Who was the commandant?
I don't know what was his name.
Were the Germans at Camp Gruber? What was the organization among the prisoners?
Good, very good. Yeah.
Did you have one leader among the
Yeah,
prisoners?
every company has his company leader with his right hand, and now the interpreter.
Who was your leader?
Hauser.
House.
Yeah, first Sergeant Hauser. He's still alive in Germany. I heard it from Kurt.
How many Germans in your company?
One coming 300.
300. And among the leaders, who
Yeah.
was? You had the leader, and then who was next?
I don't know how. I think there was another first sergeant to have the company leader, but I don't know exactly. I think that's what Kurt Trümmer
Yeah.
better knows than
What was your rank in the German Army?
first sergeant.
First sergeant. In Camp Gruber, did they have the officers and enlisted men separated?
No, here wasn't any officer in
No
the
officer.
camp. No
Yeah,
officer.
okay. So this is all
Yeah.
enlisted.
Yeah.
And how many Germans total, Olive, here?
Yeah, there are 12 companies and 300 for each, 3,600.
Would you tell me what your average day was like? What day?
Yeah, normally it was so that after breakfast you had to go out for work because I want work. I didn't must work, but I want work, and I worked the whole time I've been here as a prisoner of war in America.
What type of work did you do in the camp?
I was busy here in the headquarter camp to build up the sidewalks and the train ditches, you know, and swimming pool, but not that swimming pool, but still here. There's another one farther down, but it's not anymore there. They built a new road. So
Are there any buildings left from your camp?
yeah, a few of them.
Yeah. Were you informed of how the war was going?
Yeah, yeah.
What were your thoughts?
There was you see, a few of our engineers who watched us or who told us how to go on with the work, civilians. I know a name, Mr. Lee, from here. He was a long time my supervisor, and sometimes they told us what's going on, and then official, the interpreter, he may have a newspaper, the New York Times, and then he told us what was standing in the New York Times.
What were your thoughts?
But
What were your thoughts in those times when you were hearing and that the war was not going good for Germany?
you see, yeah, not always. Sometimes you feel, oh, the war is going well, and sometimes you feel so bad because you heard that the news, what they gave us, was bad for us to hear. So it was up and down and up and down. But always you had a hope in your heart it will be good until end.
What were your feelings, what we call VE Day?
Yeah. You know, later, you know the war must be lost. And so it was only a question of statement that now you know the war is lost. And now your thinking was when we come home. That's all what you wanted.
Was there, I guess, in this area a victory celebration on that day?
No, I don't know. I've been that day in Roswell, New Mexico. I don't know what happened here in Camp Gruber.
Why were you sent there?
We've been sent in February to Louisiana first, Camp Paul. That's a big training camp for tanks. And from there to Roswell, New Mexico.
How long did it take? When were you released from the prison camp?
After the war,
Yeah.
in January 46.
And how were you treated by the Americans at that time?
After we lost the war, a few weeks, the treatment was bad. because the war was lost, and they saw the concentration camps in Germany and all what happened in Germany, and then they pay us a little bit back.
Yeah.
But afterwards it was December, and so began to be better. And on the last few weeks it was good.
Yeah. The next question, it may not be a fair question, but why the concentration camps? Do you know why they were set up?
I don't know, because you see, I've been not in Germany only 3 years, and I was 19 years old, 17 years old when I came. And 19 years old when I went to the army. I didn't know anything about it, and I was not interested in politics because I came as a visitor from Africa. What do I know from? I saw everything was nice. When you came to Germany as a young fellow, everything was nice. There was nothing wrong. But what happened behind the question, you didn't know.
Yeah. When did you return to Germany? Was it in January '46?
No. We came to Le Havre in French by ship from America, from New York, and from there to a French prisoner of war camp under American rule, say. And it is that camp was Quebec in French, one of the worst camps ever what you can find in Europe. That was a kind of concentration camp. And the Russians, they don't been there, but they said to the Americans, all German prisoners of war, what came from the east, from East Germany, must be sent to Russia, and they have done it. Yeah, and at that time, and we have to work in coal mines in France of Belgium, in England somewhere there. But when I realized that, I went to the American officer and I said, look here, because I heard the Austrian prisoner of war, they don't need to go into the mines of Belgium or to England. And then I went to an American officer and said, look here, I'm from South Africa, from Southwest Africa, and why must I work for the Belgians or for the English when I came from Southwest Africa? And not all the Americans who was working in the office was friendly, but there was one officer, he realized that something was wrong with me because I've been not a real German and I came from Southwest Africa, and he took me out of the company I was, and so I came more in different cage and again in a different cage, but it took weeks, many weeks, till April, from February to April. And I was released on the 1st of April when I went home. But the other comrades from me, they stood 1 year or 2 years in England or in French or so. So I've been released a lot earlier than the others.
Now, when you say you went home, you were home to Germany or Africa?
No, to Germany. I had a girlfriend before the war already, and but she was 7 years younger than me, and at that time, before the war, I was not interested to marry her. But during the war and during my camp time here in the United States, we wrote letters each other and sent letters to each other. And when I was released, I went to her parents, and I stood there. And so it happens that I married her at the same year in December 46, and she's still my wife.
What part of Germany was this?
Northern Germany, Rendsburg,
Was it?
where I learned my occupation.
Yeah. Was it damaged during the war?
No,
No.
no. And after I came back from the United States, then I studied inside decorator, also in Flensburg near the Danish border for 3 years.
Yeah.
And after that, I went with my family over to South Africa again.
And do you still live in Rendsburg?
Yeah, no. I live with my family in South Africa.
Oh, you
yeah.
live in South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah. What area? And what do you?
In Cape Town.
Cape Town. How long, after you were married, how long did you stay in Germany?
3 years.
3 years. Was it difficult for Germany to get back on its feet?
Yeah, it was very difficult. But I was lucky because my parents was in Africa, my brothers and sisters too. And they sent parcels from there, food parcels. So I was lucky to get more to eat as the others in Germany.
To change the subject, this may be a difficult question. What is going to happen in South Africa now? You know, with the
Apartheid.
yeah.
You see, that's a difficult question because you can't tell you in a few minutes what happened. But the main thing what happened is not a fight against white and black, it's a fight against communism. And that's what many people in the world don't realize. They think that's a fight against white and black. It's nonsense. It's not so. But in the whole process, it's always something what is bad, you know. But in the whole, it's a fight against the communism. And that's what Americans know. Otherwise, Reagan wouldn't help the South Africans, and he do. And the English too, with Thatcher. But the man on the road, he thinks it's a fight against white and black. That's nonsense. It's not so.
Do you have any reflections on the time you spent as a German soldier or as a prisoner? Do you ever reflect back on those times?
No. I'm lucky. I'm back from the war without any illness of woundings of something like that.
Well, sir, I think we have a good interview.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you too.
This is September 5th, 1986, and this is Joe Todd, an interview with Mr. Alfred
Reisling.
And what's your name?
Renate Bobo.
Sir, where were you born?
Wo sind Sie geboren?
In Zeiskamp.
And you were born December 14th, 1924.
Yes. Especially usually die Zahlen.
Who was your father?
Wer war dein Vater?
Jakob,
And your mother?
Barbara,
Well, let's go to the military service, I guess. Quit.
Okay.
Okay.
Ich will schnell durch die Armee.
When
Ist hier fertig?
when did you first join the army?
Wann sind Sie zuerst in die Armee gegangen?
Am 2. November 1942.
On the 2nd of November 1942.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
Haben Sie sich selber reingeschrieben oder
Nein,
mussten Sie gehen?
nein, musste gehen.
He had to go.
Where were you on September 1st, 1939?
Wo waren Sie am 1. September 1939?
1. September, da habe ich gelernt. Ich habe am 1. Mai 1939 meine Lehre begonnen.
He was still learning for a job.
What were your thoughts when you heard of the invasion?
Was haben Sie gedacht, wie der Krieg kam?
Ich war ja erst, als der Krieg anging, der ging ja 39 an, war ich 14 Jahre alt. Und da hat man sich noch keine so Gedanken darüber gemacht, über den Krieg, was da alles passieren kann.
At 1939, he was just 14 years old. He was just a child. He just didn't think anything about it.
And how old were you when you were drafted?
Wie alt waren Sie, wie Sie eingezogen sind?
17.
17. That took him young. Believe you me, they did.
Where did you take your basic training?
Wo waren Sie das erste Mal stationiert? Basic.
In Frankreich.
Nee,
Commercy.
wo Sie gelernt, wo Sie
Ah.
ausgebildet worden sind?
Als Soldat.
Hier, in Frankreich?
In Frankreich.
Okay. Wie war der Name?
Commercy mit C.
Commercy. In Commercy, France.
Would you quickly describe your average day in basic, the training that you went through?
Möchte gerne von Ihnen wissen, was Sie so morgens, wann Sie aufgestanden sind, was Sie gelernt haben, was Sie so am Tag gemacht haben.
Ja, ich war bei der Infanterie
He was in the infantry,
und gewöhnlich ist es morgens um 6 Uhr
got up at 6.
und dann, wie es so geht, waschen,
Ja.
Kaffee trinken, antreten, dann ging es zur Ausbildung.
Okay. What did you learn? Rifle range? Waren Sie schießen oder marschieren oder?
Ja, wir marschierten, das war eine Grundausbildung.
Ja.
Ja. Wir haben auch Schießen gelernt, mit dem Gewehr und Maschinengewehr.
From 8 o'clock on, they just trained marching, shooting, normal things you do in the basic training.
Did you ever attend any of the big rallies, as in Nuremberg? What were the other rallies?
Was
Waren
meint
Sie
er?
mal in Nürnberg, wo die protestiert haben oder so?
No.
No, he didn't do any like that.
After, how long did basic last?
Wie lange waren Sie im Training Camp?
Im Training bis April 43. Im April 43.
Till April 30. April
40.
43.
Okay, and how many weeks was that?
Wann sind Sie rein?
Wo-
In Camp, zum Militär.
Am 2. November, nicht? Wann
From
wir,
November till,
Oh, yeah.
from November till April.
After basic, where were you sent?
Von da, vom Traininglager, wo sind Sie dann hin?
dann wurden wir abgestellt. Das ist wieder in Frankreich gewesen, Beach, für das Afrika-Korps.
That's when you went stationed in another place in France for the African Corps.
Where in France?
Which?
Beach. B-I.
Beach.
Beach.
Oh.
Beach. That's a beach.
Did you have any specific training for the Africa Corps?
Hatten Sie?
Eine Spezialausbildung, meine ich. Nein.
He didn't.
How long were you there?
Wie lange waren wir da?
In Beach?
Ja.
Ja, das war ja nur, da wurden die Kompanien zusammengestellt. Es war nur kurz und dann sind wir von dort aus verladen worden und für nach Afrika.
It was very short. That's where they put the groups together to go where. It was very short.
Aber das hat dann nicht mehr gereicht für nach Afrika. Wir sind dann in Sizilien geblieben.
Oh, the time was too short. He didn't make it to Africa. He went to Sicily.
What happened in Sicily? Just would you briefly describe what you did?
Was habt ihr denn in Sicily gemacht?
Ja,
Fighting or
ja, ich verstehe schon. Wir waren dort stationiert.
You were stationed.
Ja, und haben halt unsere Ausbildung weitergemacht. Ne?
They got trained more there than after. There was no fighting there. They just got trained more.
What unit were you a member of?
Auf Sizilien?
Yeah, what unit?
Ja, also am 9. Juli sind ja die Amerikaner in Sizilien gelandet.
Ja,
Da-
aber zu welcher Einheit gehörten Sie da?
Ja, das war praktisch, kehrten wir noch zu einer Panzerdivision, die in Afrika, also zum Afrika-Korps gehörte, aber weil ja wir nicht mehr rübergekommen sind, da war mir eine Einheit, ein Regiment für uns. Ne? Die Division, die bestand ja dann nicht mehr, weil ja das Afrika-Korps, der Krieg war in Afrika aus, und da waren wir dann eine Einheit, ein Regiment.
He was a tanker division, Panzer tanker division, but then they didn't make it. The war was over, so they just was this group all by himself in Sicily.
When did you first see the Americans?
Was meine
Wann haben Sie die ersten Amerikaner gesehen, oder?
ich? Ja,
In Sicily.
am 10. Juli 1943.
On the 10th of July in 43 in Sicily.
What were your thoughts?
Was haben Sie sich denn da gedacht?
Ja. Das war halt, was will ich denn sagen, das war halt der Krieg und jeder Soldat, egal ob er auf der deutschen Seite war, auf der anderen Seite, musste für sein Vaterland kämpfen.
He just thought it was war, and the American soldiers had to fight for their homeland, and the Germans had to fight for their homeland. That was just his.
Were you opposing the British or the American forces in Sicily?
Ob ich,
Ob Sie sich gegen gewehrt haben, gegen die Engländer oder die Amerikaner da in Sicily?
ja, das war so, ja, wir haben gegen die amerikanische Infanterie gekämpft und gegen die englischen Panzer.
They fought the American infantry and the English tanker division.
Ich
Do
habe
you
hier
know-
noch ein Souvenir. Hier und hier.
He
Von einem Geschoss.
he got shot. Yeah.
British panzers or American infantry?
No, British Panzers.
British tankers, okay.
And do you know which units you were fighting against?
Wissen Sie noch die aus?
Ne.
Ja.
The Oklahoma 45th Division was fighting there.
Yes, I know.
Thunderbird.
Ja, gestern Abend
Ja.
habe ich einen getroffen, wo in Kehla war, wo ich auch war. Gestern Abend, wo wir das Treffen hatten.
Oh, last night, you met haben Sie einen Amerikaner getroffen?
Ja, von hier,
He met last night somebody from
45. Infanterie.
45 Infantry who was in Gela when he was there too.
Did you know each other there?
No, wir haben zusammen ein paar Worte gesprochen und dann ist es so zustande gekommen. Dann,
Did General Patton have a reputation that extended beyond to the Germans? Did they know who Patton was at the time?
Haben Sie gewusst, wer Patton war?
Ja, der General Patton.
Yeah,
Ja, den Namen konnten wir schon.
they know the name, that was it.
Did he have any more respect among the German troops than Montgomery or anyone else?
Ja, ich weiß schon, was meint, ob wir Respekt gehabt haben.
Ja,
Ja.
ob für Patton mehr Respekt gehabt oder
Ah.
für jemand anders.
Ja. Ich meine, die waren beide gut.
He thinks they were both okay, good.
Was Field Marshal Kesselring in charge of the troops in Sicily and Italy?
Feldmarschall, wie hat er geheißen?
Kesselring.
Kesselring. War der in...
Kesseling?
Ja.
Nein. Wir hatten einen Regimentskommandeur namens Fullriede.
Fullreader. His commander's name was Fullreader.
Your regimental commander?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you captured?
Was in Singapore.
In Sizilien.
In Sicily.
What area?
In der Nähe von Catania. Agrigento in der Nähe.
Tanya, that's on the east coast? Yeah. What happened?
Was ist passiert?
Ja, wenn Sie das übersetzen können, wir waren Nachhut, Regimentsnachhut. Wissen Sie, was das ist? Wir waren die letzten Männer vom Regiment.
They were the last personnel from the command.
Und wir wussten schon, als wir abgestellt wurden, entweder Gefangenschaft oder Tod.
They knew either that they had to be captured or they would be killed when they were left.
How were you treated?
Wie haben sie euch behandelt?
Ja, ich meine, die Zeit in Sizilien und Afrika, die war doch schon durch die Hitze, wollen wir mal sagen, und die vielen Gefangenen, die kurze Zeit war schon etwas hart.
It was a hard time going to Africa for that, and the heat, they couldn't stand, and too many people in the camp. It was hard.
You were captured by the Americans, not the British.
Yes.
The Americans.
Do you remember the date?
Was für ein Tag? Datum?
Ja, 23. Juli 43.
23rd of June, July 43.
How did you, at that time, how was the war going for Germany?
Wie war der Krieg für Deutschland um diese Zeit? Gut oder waren sie am Gewinnen oder am Verlieren?
Zu der Zeit haben vielleicht noch einige gedacht, wir können den Krieg gewinnen, aber die meisten nicht mehr.
At that point, many German soldiers didn't think they couldn't make it anymore. Some of them still believed they could win it, but most of them didn't.
Where was the first camp you were sent?
Das war das erste Lager, wo sie hingegangen sind.
Hier in Amerika?
Ja.
In Sicily?
In Sicily? Oder
Ja, in Sizilien war es war kein Camp.
That wasn't really a
Wir
camp.
waren nur 7, 8 Mann.
There were just 7 or 8 people.
From Sicily, where were you sent?
From Sicily to where?
Dann sind wir von Sizilien nach Bizerta, von Bizerta nach Oran und von Oran in das Lager Shanxi. Es war ein großes Lager.
Shanxi.
How was your treatment by the Americans? You were interrogated?
Wie haben euch die Amerikaner behandelt?
Ja, ich möchte sagen, sie haben uns behandelt als Soldaten.
They treated him like soldiers.
They observed the Geneva Convention.
How did you travel from place to place as a
Wie-
prisoner?
Wie seid ihr gefahren? Mit dem
Ja.
Zug oder mit dem...
Zum Teil mit dem Lastwagen und zum Teil mit dem Zug.
Part by train, part by
Trucks.
trucks. Car, I want to say truck.
What type of meals did they serve you?
Was haben sie euch gefüttert zum Essen?
Ja, wir bekamen die amerikanische Verpflegung, was die Soldaten bekamen.
They got American food, what the soldiers ate.
Was it good?
Ja, wir mussten es essen, wir haben ja nichts anderes.
He had to eat it if he liked it or not. They had nothing.
How long from the time you were captured until you were brought to America?
Really.
Ja, ja, ich weiß, wir sind ungefähr am 12. und 13. September 1943 in Norfolk gelandet.
On 13th of September in 43, he came to Norfolk.
Would you describe the trip to America on the boat?
An einem Liberty-Schiff.
Ja, wie war das? Das sollten Sie mal sagen.
Ja, das war so,
Wie viele tausend Männer waren denn drauf?
da waren vorn waren Gefangene und hinten waren Gefangene. Die vorn waren für sich und wir waren für uns. Ich nehme an, dass zwischen 2.000 und 3.000 Soldaten drauf waren.
There's a large
Weil,
ship.
weil,
2,000 to 3,000 people on the ship. Part of it in the front, they stood by themselves. The part in the back stood by themselves.
Do you recall the name of the ship?
Liberty-Schiff.
Liberty boat, Liberty ship.
Did the ship have any special markings to designate it as carrying prisoners of war?
Haben die eine Fahne gehabt oder was, damit es gezeigt wurde, dass ihr Prisoner wart?
Das kann ich nicht sagen.
He doesn't know.
Normalerweise müsste er eine Fahne gehabt haben.
Regulation says they should have a flag to show that they were prisoners,
Yeah.
but he couldn't say if they did.
Wir waren im Konvoi, ganz
Ja.
groß. Waren wir am Dach, da hat man auf dem Meer nur Schiffe gesehen.
He says it was a big convoy going. If they looked out, there were more ships.
How were you treated upon your arrival in Norfolk?
Wir haben solche in Norfolk behandelt, wie er ankam.
Also das Norfolk, das war für uns, möchte ich sagen, das war eine Erlesung vom Schiff.
It was a relief going off the ship back on land. That was one.
Were all the prisoners brought into Norfolk?
Sind
Ja,
alle Gefangenen, die am Schiff waren, nach Norfolk
Ja,
gegangen? Ja.
And how were you treated in Norfolk by the Americans?
Wie haben die Amerikaner euch behandelt in Norfolk?
ja, es war sehr gut. Wir sind da ausgeladen worden. Dann mussten wir unsere Kleider abgeben in Säcke. Die wurden dann wie will ich denn sagen, desinfiziert.
Ja.
Und dann mussten wir durch ein Bad gehen.
Mhm.
Also jeder musste durch das Wasser kommen von oben.
Ja.
Wir hatten nichts mehr an. Und dann bekamen wir unsere Kleider wieder. Dann sind wir durch die Büros gegangen und da wurden wir aufgenommen.
They had to undress and pack their clothes in sacks, and they went one way to get disinfected, and they had to go to shower line. On the end, they got their clothes back, and then they had to go through the offices and get assigned to the barracks.
What was your number?
Das war die Nummer.
8 WG 54043.
Did you get that?
9.
8
That's me too.
8 W W G G 54 5 O 43.
How long were you at Norfolk?
Wie lange waren wir in Norfolk?
Noch kein Tag.
Just one day.
Did you ever come in contact with the public, the American people in Norfolk? From Norfolk, where were you sent?
Von Norfolk, wo sind Sie dann hin?
Sind wir mit der Eisenbahn von Norfolk direkt nach Tonkawa gefahren.
With the train to Tonkawa.
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 How was travel on the train?
Aber sehr gut.
kind of car? Pullman?
Was für ein Wagen?
Ja, Pullman.
Pullman.
What type of security did the Americans have?
Was guards.
Guards.
Oh.
Ja, Bewachung.
Yeah,
Ja. An jedem End war ein Soldat.
on each end of the cart was one guard.
Did they have Americans, did you have any interaction with the guards?
Haben Sie mit der Wache sprechen können oder dürfen?
Nein,
Nein.
Were the guards hostile?
Oh.
Was meint er?
Hustle. What's this hustle anyhow? I don't know.
Tell it not so bad.
Okay. Did the guards seem to resent you? There was a great deal of anti-German
Haben die euch
propaganda in this
gehasst?
country.
Nein, das kann man nicht sagen.
He says,
Oh, wir haben gutes Essen bekommen da drin.
gehasst haben die.
Nein, nein.
He says there was no hate there.
Were there people on the train, I'm sure that, of course, they had cooks, but did they have people patrolling the cars?
One of the, ist jemand von den Bewachungen durch die Wagen
Nein,
gegangen? Die
nein.
standen nur an jedem Ende.
Jedem Ende, sie sind ja nur einer durchgegangen, wenn wir Essen bekommen haben.
It just came on through when they got food. Otherwise, they just stood on each end.
Did you have a military hierarchy? Was there a German officer or a German NCO in charge of your group?
War da ein deutscher Offizier oder wer war denn in?
No, wir waren lauter Soldaten.
Keine Offiziere.
Nein, Offiziere nicht.
Und wer, so und seid ihr so, hat niemand als wie die Amerikaner über euch geguckt oder was?
Wir
Habt
Das
keinen
war
Gruppenleiter gehabt?
gar nichts. Da sind so viele Mann reingekommen, bis voll war und dann ist der nächste Wagen da gekommen.
They just loaded soldiers in there, and there were so many in there, and that was it. There were no officers in, German officers with them.
What was your rank?
Das war deine,
Soldat.
yeah, Soldat.
Ah ja, ich war ja ganz jung.
Yeah, he was just a soldier, just a private.
Private.
No, just a soldier.
Just a soldier.
Just a soldier, not a private.
No, what, any lieutenant, overlieutenant?
No, nothing.
No,
He just
Nothing.
Nothing.
nothing. He was so
Oh.
young.
Privat.
A private is.
Gefreiter ist das. Ja,
No,
nichts.
private is private. Private is soldier.
Ja, ja. Nur Soldat.
No soldat.
How long did it take to travel from Norfolk to Tonkawa?
Wie viele Tage?
Ja, ich glaube 2 Tage und 2 Nächte.
2 days and 2 nights.
How were you treated upon your arrival in Tonkawa?
Wie war der Empfang in Tonkawa?
Wir sind mit dem Zug direkt vor das Lager gefahren und dann wurden wir registriert. Und bis wir alle, das war ja, waren ja viel, es waren ja sehr viele. Und zwischendurch, bis wir alle durchkamen, bekamen wir Essen. Und dann sind wir eingeteilt worden auf unsere Baracken.
He said the train just went straight to the camp. They got unloaded, and while the rest of them was still unloaded and getting registered, the first batch started eating, and then they got to the barracks.
Can you describe the camp at Tonkawa?
Dann können Sie den noch beschreiben, wie das
Ja, natürlich, ich kann das Camp gut. Wir haben ja gestern einen Plan bekommen von dem Camp, nicht? Und ich habe ja auch mit dem einen vom Fernsehen, in der Baracke 814 in der Mitte war ich gelegen, in der 8. Kompanie.
He was in barracks 840 in the middle. He showed it yesterday to the man from television, 18 Tulsa.
Is the building still there?
Das Gebäude ist noch da, ja?
Nein,
It's not.
ist nur noch das Gebäude von der Offiziersmesse steht noch.
Just the building, the officers' club is still standing. That's the only thing was still standing.
What was your average day in camp?
Was haben sie am Tag gemacht im
Ja,
Camp?
Tonkawa war ein Nicht-Arbeitslager.
They couldn't work. Tonkawa is non-working.
Ja, wir haben ab und zu einen Tag mal, vielleicht jede zweite Woche in der Küche geholfen.
Maybe every second week he could help in the kitchen, but otherwise there was a lot of work.
Leute,
Ja, dann bin ich ja im Februar 1944 nach Gruber gekommen.
And in February 1944 he came to Gruber.
why were you brought to Gruber?
Ja,
Warum?
Gruber war ja, wie ich schon sagte, Tonkawa war ein Nicht-Arbeitslager und Gruber war ein Arbeitslager. Und Soldaten, gewöhnlichen Soldaten, die mussten arbeiten gehen. Und von Unteroffizier aufwärts, die konnten arbeiten gehen, aber die brauchten nicht zu arbeiten.
Okay. Tonkawa is a camp where you don't work. And him being just a soldier, they had to work. After the rank of an Unteroffizier, you could sign up if you wanted to work or not. So with him being just a soldier, he was sent to Fort Gruber to go to work. He had no other choice.
Was there any attempt to indoctrinate or to denazify or anything like that in the propaganda that classes that you attended,
Seid ihr
education?
irgendwo zu Klassen gegangen, wo sie über Hitler gesprochen haben oder wo sie euch umwechseln wollten oder? No. He says no, there was nothing like that.
What type of work did you do at
Was für
Camp
eine
Gruber?
Arbeit habt ihr hier gehabt?
Ja, ich habe zuerst, also lange Zeit im Motorpool in Shop Nummer 1 gearbeitet.
He worked in the motor pool shop number 1,
Hier,
right here in Fort Gruber.
Mechanic,
Mechanic?
Mechanik, ja.
trucks.
Trucks.
Yeah. Were you informed of the war in Europe as a prisoner?
Ja, wir haben das durch den Lautsprecher gesagt bekommen.
They had loudspeakers and they would tell them what was going on in Germany.
Did anyone have radios?
Aber ein Schwarzsender war im Lager.
One black radio was here, yes. It wasn't a lot.
Shortwave.
Yeah. Kurze Welle.
Ja,
How did you acquire?
Wie das da reingekommen ist.
ja, da waren Elektriker und ja, das ist so. Wir haben ja, das war ja ein großes Lager hier. Nicht?
Ja.
Ja, und da waren ja überall Gefangene, Arbeit, überall. Und einer hat das gebracht, der andere das, da haben die das im Camp zusammengebaut.
Oh, die Amerikaner haben das gebracht oder die?
Nee, die Deutschen, ne, Deutschen.
Ah. When they went to work, the Germans, to different places, they got a little bit here and got a little bit there, and they built that radio together. So they,
Ja, Sie können das noch sagen. Ups.
yeah.
Die Amerikaner, die haben den Sender ausgemacht, haben aber nie gefunden. Da war in einer Geige eingebaut.
The Americans knew they found the station, the radio, but they knew there was a station where they could listen to, but they never found the radio that was built in a violin.
So you had it hidden in a violin.
They had it hidden in a violin.
They could detect the.
Yeah, the American knew there was somewhere something, but they never found it.
Did they thoroughly search?
Ob sie euch gut untersucht haben, es ist richtig gut.
Ja, das kam schon ab und zu mal vor, dass wir alle aus dem Lager mussten. Und dann haben sie das ganze Lager durchsucht.
That came many times that they all get out of the barracks and they'd search, but they never did find it. Hatte Fritz nicht gesagt, das war eins unter der Küche?
Ja, das war in Lager 3.
Oh, das
Ich war ja in Lager 1.
What else did you do that was unauthorized?
Was habt ihr denn sonst noch gemacht, was ihr nicht machen durftet?
Also, ja, eigentlich nichts. Wir hatten so viel Unterhaltung. Ich habe Fußball gespielt, Faustball und Tischtennis. Ne?
He kept himself busy. They all kept himself busy playing football, tisch tennis, ping pong, and they didn't do anything on. The only thing they had was the radio.
Were there ever any attempts to escape?
Hab doch mal versucht wegzulaufen.
Das war ja nicht, das hatte keinen Zweck gehabt, wo sollte man hin?
He said there was no reason. He didn't know where to go anyhow.
How did you acclimate to this sultry climate after living in Germany?
Wie war das Klima denn hier, von Deutschland nach hier?
Ja, das Klima, ja, wenn ich gewusst hätte, dass sie kommen, ich habe noch den ersten Brief, wo ich von Tonkawa aus geschrieben habe, ne? Hätte ich ihn mitgebracht. Ja. Ich habe den ersten Brief am 25. September 1943 in Tonkawa geschrieben und der kam am 26. Dezember 1943 bei meinen Eltern an. Und dann haben die erst mir geschrieben. Und dann, ja, habe dann immer Post bekommen. Das ging dann, weil wie der erste Brief hier war, dann ging das immer regelmäßig. Verstehen Sie?
Ja,
Ne?
er wollte vom Klima wissen.
Ja.
Die Hitze.
Ja, ach so, die Hitze. Ja, hier war es natürlich heißer wie bei uns.
Und habt ihr viel zu trinken gekriegt? Oder?
Ja, wenn wir rausgegangen sind mit zu arbeiten, haben wir unser Essen bekommen und unseren Tee haben wir mitbekommen.
Well, it was hotter than in Germany, and they always got, when they went out to work, their food and lots of iced tea.
Ticks were ticks a problem here? Ticks and chiggers for
Die Dinger, die
die-
Bloodsuckers,
Ja,
diese Blauzüge.
ja, also die hatten wir nicht im Lager.
He says there were none in the camp.
If there was a violin, then you must have had an orchestra.
Wenn eine Geige gehabt hat, ob du auch ein Orchester gehabt hat, oder auch wie
Ja,
die Beine.
natürlich, ja, natürlich.
Yeah, they had an
Ja.
orchestra.
Did you play?
No.
No.
No, he didn't.
Let me see.
Did you work on farms in the area?
Ich habe ihn verstanden. Ich habe 3 Tage mal Baumwolle gepflückt.
He worked for 3 days and picked cotton.
What's your reaction to cotton picking?
Wie das war.
Ja, das war harte Arbeit.
That was hard work.
How many pounds could you pick in one day?
Wie viel Pfund habt ihr an einem Tag gepflückt?
Ja. Oh, das weiß ich nicht mehr. Es war eine ganze Menge.
He can't remember, but it was a lot.
But you never worked outside the camp except for the cotton picking for 3
Habt ihr
days.
sonst noch irgendwo gearbeitet außerhalb oder bloß die 3
Ich
Tage?
nicht.
No, he didn't. Just that one time.
Where was the cotton field? Do you have
Wo war das Feld? War das hier?
Das muss hinter Muskogee gewesen sein.
Beyond Muskogee.
Wir sind mal durch Muskogee gefahren.
Okay.
Were you informed of what we call the Battle of the Bulge?
Was meint er?
Ob sie euch informiert haben von Battle of the Bulge? I don't.
The Ardennes Offensive.
Ah, ja,
I didn't know neither.
ja, wir haben das gehört.
Yeah, he didn't know.
What was your reaction?
Was habt ihr euch denn da gedacht?
Ja. Und was sollen wir uns gedacht haben? Das war halt der Griechen, das war der letzte Widerstand der Deutschen.
He just thought that was the war and that was just the last German fight.
You held out no hope for victory for Germany.
No.
What about Normandy?
Von der Normandie.
Yeah,
Das ist genau dasselbe.
he says the same.
Ja, ich habe das mitgemacht in Sizilien. Wir kannten ja die Stärke der Amerikaner und den Nachschub, den hatten wir nie.
He said he knew there was no hope. He remembered Sicily and The Americans had much more to go, and everything was coming in better for them than for the Germans. So
Would you reflect on your time as a prisoner, just your feelings about that time of your life?
dann möchte ich gerne wissen, wie du da jetzt drüber denkst, über die Zeit, wo du Gefangener warst.
Ja,
War das eine gute Zeit, eine schlechte Zeit?
ich hatte eigentlich eine sehr gute Zeit.
He thinks it was a good time for him.
Ich bin gerne zurückgekommen.
And he came.
Do you consider yourself fortunate to have been captured?
War das gut für dich, dass du als Gefangener gegangen bist? Oder?
Ja, das war der Krieg.
He thinks it's just war.
Say like he.
Yeah.
What happened to your family while you were here?
Was war mit den Eltern oder den Geschwistern,
Ja.
die hier waren?
Ja, wir waren mit 3 Brüdern im Krieg. Der älteste ist gefallen. Der zweite war noch zu Hause, als die erste Post kam. Und von dem kam die letzte Post 19. August 1946. Er ist vermisst.
Yes, there were 3 brothers, not them crying. 3 brothers, one of them got killed. He went to prison, and the other one is still missing. They don't know where he is. So he's the only one.
You want to stop?
Kannst du aufhören? Soll ich mich weitermachen?
Doch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to go on.
Okay. Thank you.
Wants to go on or to stop?
No, he wants to go on.
He wants to go on.
Yeah.
When the war ended, when Germany surrendered,
Wenn der Krieg in Deutschland zu Ende war,
what was your reaction?
was hast du da gedacht?
Mein größter Wunsch war halt, dass ich wieder nach Hause komme.
He was just hoping for getting home fast.
What was the reaction? What was the feeling in the camp? Was it relief? Was it joy? Was it sadness?
Wie war es im Lager? Haben sich die Soldaten gefreut, dass der Krieg zu Ende war, oder waren sie traurig? Oder
Ja, na, man hat halt darüber gesprochen, aber es war halt so, jeder dachte, der Krieg ist jetzt aus und wir kommen nach Hause, bald nach Hause.
they just all talked about it, and everybody was just hoping pretty soon they all could go home.
How long before you returned to Germany?
Wie lange warst du noch hier in Amerika?
Im Mai 46 war ich hier und dann kam ich nach England.
He was here till May 46, and then he went to England. And then from England,
Da war ich nochmal bis zum August 47.
he was in England till August 47. And then
Dann am 27. August bin ich nach Hause gekommen.
27 of August 47, he was released to Germany.
What was the reaction of the American people after the war was over towards you?
Wie haben sich die Amerikaner dann euch gegenüber benommen, nachdem der Krieg zu Ende war?
Also ich habe keinen Unterschied gemerkt.
He didn't see any difference in it.
I understand that there were some romances between prisoners of war and American women. And there were some marriages after the fact. How did that occur if you were so closely guarded?
Sagt, ihr hättet hier Freundinnen gehabt und da wären auch irgendwelche hätten geheiratet. Möchte gerne wissen, wie das zustande gekommen ist.
Not here.
Not here.
No, not here.
Not here.
No.
Were you closely guarded all the time?
Haben sie euch immer ganz ganz
Die-
gut bewacht, immer bewacht. Konntet ihr gar nichts machen ohne Bewachung.
Ja, wir haben ja hier frei gearbeitet. Wir sind das Mechanikerkommando war gewöhnlich 40, 50 Mann. Da sind wir mit einem Soldat rausmarschiert.
There were almost 50 people and with one soldier going with them. That's it.
So you could have overpowered your guards at any time if you wanted to.
They didn't have to prevent
Ja,
you,
ja, ja.
but they didn't.
A formality.
Yeah.
Why the time in England?
Warum haben sie euch nach England
Ja,
geschickt?
das weiß ich nicht. Das war Sache der Amerikaner.
He didn't know. That just came from the American.
Did they work you while you were in England?
Hast du gearbeitet wie in England?
Ja, in einer kleinen Gießerei, Foundry.
Oh, he just worked in a
Little Foundry.
little place, foundry, I don't know. Gießerei.
Gießerei, Foundry.
Oh, okay.
What was your reaction when you returned home, Germany?
How did you feel going back home? Wie hast du dich gefühlt, wieder nach Deutschland zu gehen?
Es war halt die größte Freude in meinem Leben.
He said that was the best thing ever happened.
Where was your home in Germany? I missed that part of the interview.
Zeiss
Zeiskam.
in der Nähe von Heidelberg.
Close to Heidelberg.
Was it damaged during the war?
War es zerstreut vom Krieg und Bomben?
Im März, am 23. März 1943 fielen nochmal 3 Bomben in unserem Dorf.
Am 23. März, 23rd of March in 43, 3 bombs fell in this little town.
That's the extent of the damage?
War das alles?
Das war alles.
That was it.
After you went back, there were American occupation forces all over that part of Germany. Were they resented?
Wie du nach Hause kamst, da waren doch amerikanische Soldaten in Heidelberg und überall.
Ja,
Wie haben sich die Deutschen dagegen benommen?
Ja, wie ich nach Hause kam, das Heidelberg, das war in der amerikanischen Zone und ich war in der französischen Zone.
Oh, his hometown is on the French side.
Okay.
He was not in the American
American.
sector, he was on the French sector.
That's right, okay.
Der Rhein war die Grenze.
The Rhine River is the border, so. It was on the-
Did you resent the French?
Habt ihr euch die...
Ja, bei uns im Dorf waren keine Franzosen mehr.
There were no more French people and soldiers in his hometown. They were just free.
Were you still on a strictly rationed diet in 47 when you got back?
Hatten sie noch Lebensmittelkarten? Bitte?
Ja,
Yeah, they still had ration cards when he got home.
How many calories a day was an adult meal allowed?
das weiß ich nicht mehr. Ich glaube 1400, gell, oder wie viel?
47. I can remember we had ration cards. We got a pair of shoes every 6 months. We had about 200 grams of lunch meat on a card a day, and we had once a week a roast. For younger children, they had milk, I think a loaf of bread, and for the rest of them, you had to fight for. That's all I can remember being there.
Were you involved in the black market at all? Did you sell anything to Americans or to the French to supplement your income? Or did you have anything left to sell?
No, the only thing I did, I sold it to the farmers, to the German farmers, whatever I had.
At black market?
No, not exactly. Not black market, for food.
I know, but beyond the authorized price limit for the food?
No.
Okay.
No.
There was a flourishing black market at that time in Germany.
Yep.
Was war das?
Ob der Schwarzmarkt war.
Ja, natürlich.
Yeah.
Der hat geblüht in der Zeit.
And he was blooming, the black market.
He was?
That's what they're saying. It was blooming, black market.
Can you describe the black market and the activities in the black market in Germany?
Habt ihr da irgendwas noch vom Weiß, vom Schwarzmarkt, was sie da so verkauft haben?
Ja,
Was,
ja, also wir brauchten zu Hause nicht auf den Schwarzmarkt zu gehen. Wir waren zwar arme Leute, aber wir hatten eine Kuh, wir hatten Hühner und 2 Schweine. Und da haben wir uns in etwas Landwirtschaft und haben wir uns so über die Runden gebracht.
aber verkauft habt ihr nie was auf dem schwarzen Markt?
Nein, das brauchten wir für uns.
He said he ever never had to use the black market. They had a cow and pigs and a little bit land. So they were poor, but they made it. They didn't never had to use the black market.
You went right back to your family and started working the land.
But bist nach Hause und hast den Eltern geholfen. Habt
Ja,
ihr
natürlich.
kleinen Bauernhof?
Ja.
Did you have a job in the town also?
Habt ihr noch eine andere Arbeit nebenbei
Ja,
gehabt?
ich habe dann 48 im Februar auf der Eisenbahn angefangen.
You started in February 48 for the train station, the railroad station.
Do you still live in the same town?
Yeah?
Yeah.
He still lives in Seiskamp here.
Ja.
And he's retired from the railroad now.
German trains still run on time?
Ob die deutschen Züge immer noch zeitig sind.
Ja,
You
natürlich.
can set your clock on that.
That's true.
Heidelberg Castle.
Ja, Heidelberger Schloss.
Yeah. How much more restoration do they plan?
Wie haben Sie das Heidelberger Schloss jetzt noch mehr repariert?
Am Heidelberger Schloss schaffen ja aus und ein Kunstschmiede, Maurer. Da wird immer restauriert.
They're still working on it.
Oh, this Yara is
Ja, ich glaube, die haben
800 Jahre.
800,
800
ja. Sie ist eine Feier.
Die Universidad de...
That's
Ja,
French.
ich glaube, die haben dieses Jahr
This is
ein
8th anniversary of...
Jubiläumstag.
Yeah, jubileum anniversary.
Ja.
Yeah. I was there in January. No, a year ago January.
I remember, and you didn't take me in a suitcase neither.
Geht lieber noch im Januar.
Nein, war im Januar.
War im Januar.
Der geht immer. Der ist laufend, ist der
Und
in
da
Deutschland.
unterwegs, ja?
Mhm.
Er müsste aber ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen.
I was...
He says, if you go that often, you better speak better German. Ha, ha,
My
ha.
Deutsch is
Got you.
Oh. Americans are like French. We don't speak other languages very well. Yeah.
Oh, what do you expect from us?
You do an awful lot better than we do.
I never had English in school.
Yeah, you do just remarkably better than we do. I do.
And I can't read and write.
I know enough to be dangerous.
Okay,
Not
yeah.
that much.
Well,
Going back to the Camp Gruber period, did a lot of the men from here go out to farms to supplement the labor during harvest and planting season?
hier vom Camp Gruber. Wie viele Männer haben hier bei den Bauern gearbeitet?
Oh, das ist... Die meisten, bei den Bauern haben nicht so viel gearbeitet, weil die meisten hier im Camp gearbeitet haben. Da waren ja, in der Zeit waren ungefähr 40.000 Soldaten hier drin.
He said most of them worked here. There were 40,000 men here, and most of them worked here on camp. There wasn't very many let out to the farmers.
There were not very many?
No, not
What,
very.
what did you do? What did 40,000 men do productively?
Ja, hier waren 40.000, die 42 Ding
Here was the
Pantridivision.
42nd Infantry Division. There were 40,000 American soldiers here.
Oh, okay. But how many German soldiers were here?
How many?
3.000 ungefähr.
3,000.
And so you did the jobs they didn't want to do?
Ihr habt die Arbeit gemacht, die nicht machen wollten.
Nein, das kann man nicht sagen.
He says no, not
Ja,
exactly.
ja, wir waren gewöhnlich 2 Gefangene und ein Amerikaner.
Okay, usually were 2 prisoners and 1 American. Was für Arbeit habt ihr gemacht?
Ich war ein Auto repariert.
He was in a motor pool repairing trucks, cars. What about die anderen, die mit dir im Lager waren?
Ja, da waren in der Küche,
They are
der-
in the kitchen.
Wäscherei. Schreinerei, Lagerhaus. Überall von
They all worked out in the kitchen, in the laundry, in the carpentry. They just did everything. They worked here on camp.
officers mess and every.
There are some stone monuments that the prisoners of war erected here. Do you recall the construction of those?
Weißt du noch, wie das Monument gebaut ist aus den Steinen hier?
Ja, wie ich hierher kam, waren die schon gebaut.
Oh, he came here, it was built already. That monument was there already by the time he got to the camp.
So you don't know about the construction or who was involved in the construction?
Ihr wisst nicht, wer es gebaut hat und wer...
Doch,
Ja.
einer ist hier, der das eine gebaut hat. Und Fritz Globe, der hat ein Schachbrett gebaut. Das sind sie jetzt
Okay.
sehen.
They just went there to look at that. That little fellow, Fritz Klopper, he made the chest piece.
Das ist noch
I
der
want to
andere.
see it too.
Okay. You want to go?
Ob
It's
wir
lovely.
gehen?
Yeah.
Ja,
You have any more?
No, that's...
Okay. Sir, Tonka.
wieder.
Thank you very much.